Today I'd like to talk about something that's a little bit outside of my usual wheelhouse, which is these buildings here. Now, these are something I've been building during lockdown, mostly as just just a way to try new techniques, new mediums, new forms of modelling. Hold on, I've got a third one here. Sorry, that was the buildings falling over. Um, these are just something that I've done kind of to alleviate the boredom, really. They are built to a much larger scale than my usual ones. Normally I work in double O scale. There's a double O locomotive for comparison. These are to a larger scale. These are designed for wargaming scale, like 28mm miniatures. I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials on model making. Many of them are by wargaming terrain makers. For instance, Black Magic Craft is probably my favourite. And it's just a form of model making that really captured my imagination because it is about imagination. So much of it is fantasy based or science fiction based, and it's about just playing around a lot of the time. For instance, like this building here is it's cardboard. It's made of cardboard, nothing more than corrugated card there. The planking is made of card taken from food packaging. This cost me nothing, absolutely nothing. I did not spend a penny on this. So what's it got to do with model railways? Well, the thing is, I feel with model railways like there is too much emphasis these days on spending money. I'm not saying all modelers are all about spending money, but I just feel these days like there is so much emphasis on putting things together as opposed to actually building things. What I mean is that if you say want to build a police station, say, then the chances are that what the magazines will tell you is buy like the Hornby or Bachmann ready to plant police station, and here is a fuel pump from this range, and here are some police cars from the Oxford range, and here is the weathering paint that you use. And it's just dispiriting to me. It just doesn't feel creative. And maybe I'm being unfair, but I just feel like there is no longer this emphasis on doing it yourself. Or if there is, it's always by like these really experienced modelers, who work in brass sheet or have like a whole club to help them out. And I feel like we've sort of lost touch with our roots. By which I mean, so I love modelers like Peter Denny and John Ahern, these really kind of old school modelers who were modelling in like the 40s and 50s, the 60s. Like they didn't have the vast range of stuff that we do. So for them, it was all about building your own, like card, plywood, tin plate. Particularly the modelers working during the war. They just didn't have access to materials. But the results they got were fantastic. Now, okay, you can say that maybe they are crude compared to what we can do today. But that adds to their charm for me. That I love the fact that one guy, built an entire village, like built everything on the railway, like the track, the rolling stock, the buildings, the scenery, just out of stuff, like just regular household stuff. And yeah, and you don't see that anymore. I will give an honourable mention, though, to budget model railways who actually do a lot of that sort of thing. They're a channel that I've mentioned before, and full disclosure, it's a channel I'm a fan of. But otherwise, I feel like it's quite off-putting when you're saying to, say, young people on a budget, or maybe older people who have a whole lot of other demands on their finances. If you say to them, you have to spend money, you have to buy ready-to-plant buildings, you have to buy top-of-the-line scenic materials, that's the only way you can get a good result. And I just think it's creatively off-putting if you're looking for an artistic hobby. Model making appeals. You look at the magazines and they just say, ready to plant stuff, stuff that you buy and glue down, and that's it. I mean, I'm sure the results are great, but it all looks the same, frankly. I'm going to be lynched for saying that. Probably not going to get invited to any exhibitions anytime soon, but that's okay. I wasn't getting invited in the first place. But meanwhile, over in the wargaming fields, like, there are so many terrain channels where it's people just making stuff out of like cardboard, foam core, and I found that really inspiring. Because the other great thing about those videos is they show you firsthand how easy it is. So let me just talk about this house here. Now, this is it's some cardboard. The roof is cardboard. The inner bracing is cardboard. Hold on, there you go. The walls are foam core. The roof slates, the coping stones, the doors and windows, they're all card. The chimney pots are super glue tops. This bit here, this sort of crumbly stonework, that's bicarbonate of soda with superglue mixed in to create a sort of rough paste. And all the rest is painting and weathering. And most of the paint I used was just basic craft paint. And at the risk of sounding immodest, I'm quite pleased with the end result. Like, I'm proud of this. I'm not going to claim it's the best building in the world, but I like it because it's my build. I did this from scratch. There was no house before, and now there is one. So what am I going to do with it? I'm kind of thinking I might build a diorama. I'm thinking a forced perspective thing, perhaps. Maybe with a 00 gauge viaduct in the background. The concept behind it is a Victorian or 18th century house. I was kind of inspired by examples in South London, around Deptford and places. Let me just get this one up. This is specifically inspired by some illegally built houses in Rotherhithe. Now from this angle you can kind of see where the paint didn't get in the gaps between the slates. But otherwise there wasn't really a plan to it. I just sort of played around. That's egg carton bricks there. That's pushpin chimney pots. The door handle is actually a Trimet's brass ring. So yeah, I'm thinking like a Victorian South London kind of a Dickensian thing. I think that might be fun. But yeah, that's just a sort of long ramble on a very different kind of modelling. I would say if this has interested you, if this has inspired you, I would say give it a go. It'll give you, even if you're not into wargaming yourself, it'll teach you techniques that you can use in your regular modelling. These are techniques that can be scaled down, and it's just a bit of fun. Yeah, I would say check out Black Magic Craft, check out Budget Model Railways. Wylock's Armory is a good one. And if you can get hold of them, check out John Ahern's books on scenery, buildings, locomotive construction. They are a brilliant resource if you're looking to get into this kind of modelling. I mean, yeah, they're kind of dated. A lot of the techniques have been superseded. Some of the materials just aren't available anymore. But it's a great starting point. It fires the imagination, and I feel like that's what model railways should be about. You know, it shouldn't be a snobby hobby for people with lots of money or people with a PhD in metalwork or whatever. It should be about having fun. Isn't that, in the end, what any hobby is about? So, I'll leave you with that. I hope you didn't find this too rambling. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. And I will see you very soon. Cheerio.